Greetings. My name is John Peterson, Executive Director for School Administrators of South Dakota. Once again, we've got another 10-minute podcast being filmed here in the state capitol. Today's March 11th, and we have Representative Feinstein with us, Mark Feinstein, representative from Sioux Falls. And we're going to start this out, this little 10-minute segment, and start out and have Mark tell us a little bit about his district, who you represent, what part of Sioux Falls, Mark?
Well, thank you, John. I'm born and raised in South Dakota, graduated from high school in Aberdeen, and moved to Sioux Falls in 1995. And the part of Sioux Falls I represent is the southeast corner of the city. It's actually 10th Street south to the county line and Interstate 229 east of the border of Sioux Falls.
Okay. Now, Mark, I believe you're an attorney, aren't you?
Yes, I'm an attorney. My practice areas are tax law, business law, and elder law, where I work to help people qualify for Medicaid and save people from spending money on nursing homes.
Mark, you know, we tried to have as many legislators as we can on this program. And, you know, when I found out that you were a tax attorney and listened to your testimony in regards to Senate Bill 18, I know that we've got a lot of members out there who would like to hear your thoughts on Senate Bill 18. And with that said, you know, I'll just briefly bring it up. There's been major restructuring of the South Dakota retirement system, benefits regarding retire, rehire, and some of those other issues. And you are on the House Retirement Committee. And, you know, you brought forth an amendment that we thought was interesting because the way the bill, and in fact, by the way, I guess it's important to make it clear, it did pass the Senate, it did pass the House, and it's either on the governor's desk or he has signed it. But I know you had concerns about the fact that if one would leave employment in Elk Point and go to Harding County, you still have to have the 90 days or the 3 months. And you also lose 15%. And you introduced an amendment against that. But talk a little bit about that issue.
Well, thanks, John. When it was originally proposed to us members on the Retirement Laws Committee last summer, there was, if you had a separation of employment, in other words, if you do just as you said, if you're employed with the schools in Webster and then decide to go work for the city of Baltic, that's a separation of employment. Or if you're working in Aberdeen and for the colleges, you end up going to be a school administrator in Sioux Falls, that would be a separation of employment. And you should be able to meet the standard of separation of service without falling into the problem of a retire-rehire situation.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You know, the interesting thing with this is that this is going to impact a lot of administrators, I mean, and teachers as well. And I guess it was the concern. Now, you've done a little research, I think, haven't you? I mean, where are we at in comparison to other states? Because we were told that the IRS says that there has to be that separation. And like I said, the thing that's interesting about you, you're an attorney, and you have a strong history in tax accounting. And so, what are your thoughts on that, on the separation?
Well, when I look at the information and the tax rules and tax laws that were cited by the retirement board and coming down to us as to why and what constituted separation of service, they pointed out this section 72T, pretty technical and thick Internal Revenue Service code. But they're citing that as a problem that could face the South Dakota retirement system and make a retire-rehire situation a problem for the system. And actually, when I looked at that particular section, it is not a penalty on the retirement system. If indeed the employee did not have the proper separation, it would be a penalty to that person himself. And where would that perhaps come out? Well, let's just say somebody's looking for the state of South Dakota, the Department of Revenue, and they would use the Department of Labor. Is that a separation of service? I guess I would contend that is not. And if somebody was in that particular position, I would say he or she should check with his or her tax advisor and find out if the penalty would result in a penalty. It's a 10% penalty on what they receive from retirement. But when I looked at that again and said, okay, if you're moving, again, to a different employer, that is a separation of service. It's so hard to imagine the IRS would come down on something like that. I don't think that was the intent of the retirement system, and I don't think that was the intent of the board of the retirement system when they initially proposed this legislation.
You know, and the interesting thing is, the bill started over in the Senate, and it was before the Senate Retirement Committee. And I know when we were lobbying senators early on, many of them said, well, the reason that we're going to have to vote for Senate Bill 18 is because of the IRS. And that's what I found very interesting. I went over to committee, and you were on the Retirement Committee, and you brought this up and introduced your amendment there as well as on the floor here. And so your thoughts and your comments were that the responsibility is on the individual, where it should be, and not on the retirement system.
Right. It shouldn't have a bona fide. It shouldn't have an effect because it is a bona fide separation when you change employers. If you know what the problem would be to a retirement system, I believe was addressed in the law. That if you retire and you don't have maybe, if you only have like a 60-day period where then you come back. I mean, let's just take a situation where a superintendent retires from his system effective May 1 and comes back July 1 and is rehired. Is that really a bona fide separation of service? In that situation, I would say no.
Sure.
It's a summer off situation, and that wouldn't. But that's not what we're talking about with the amendment. I think that's what this system is trying to correct, but it does not affect it. Let's say a superintendent in Vermillion wants to go to Webster. That's a separation. Your boss is different. Your employer is different. Your pay source is different.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. You know, we've only got a couple more minutes left here, Mark, and it's Thursday. We've got another, well, I guess it's Thursday afternoon, 3:15.
One more day.
And one more day, and so we'll know a lot more in 24, well, a lot more in 30 hours. But what are your thoughts on the session so far? And, you know,
well, it's been a very interesting. I keep hearing, I've always been in favor of increasing funding to education. I've been in favor of the 4.25% or inflation, whichever is greater. It's hard for me to imagine that we don't have a 1.2% this year. There's plenty of money. We have a $1.2 billion budget, and there's plenty of money. It's a matter of priorities. And my priority is education first, and then everything else can filter in around that. That's what we need to do. I hope it can be done. We're trying to work things out. We'll see what happens in the next few hours.
Well, it's representatives like you that we appreciate that supporting this.
Thank you. We try because that's the right thing to do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.